Hello, I'm Ashok Khosla, back again with The Green Show. Even today, many people think that business and environment are like oil and water. They just don't mix. And indeed, the free marketplace where businesses can flourish does work on the single-minded pursuit of profits. Caring for the environment on which our health and lives depend can only come from either restricting the freedoms of the market or from the deliberate efforts of business people themselves. On The Green Show, we believe that market forces and businesses are not only a part of the problem, but can also become part of the solution. Our job is to try and show you how.
Today, The Green Show brings you a feature on green leather. Next, we take you to Tihar to meet the green Kedis. And finally, we wrap up the show with grass and golf sticks. With only 5% of the world population, the US produces nearly 25% of the global carbon emissions. If nothing is done, the country will be pouring 100 million more tons into the atmosphere by the year 2000.
Come winter and we tuck ourselves behind hides and skins. We live in a world of paradoxes. The Indian leather industry enjoys a dual distinction of being both one of the largest foreign exchange generators and one of the largest polluters. Might the technologies now becoming available just make this growth industry sustainable? Let's find out.
The leather industry the world over has been facing the wrath of environmentalists for being ecologically unsafe. Some countries have already introduced legislations to check the environmental damages being caused by the industry and promote eco-friendly substitutes to replace the conventional chemicals. India's share in the global leather trade has decreased from 9% in 1957 to a mere 2.7% in 1991. There was a decline of 8% in export in dollar terms in 1991-92. The industry suffered a further setback when some of the developed Western countries banned leather imports from India on the grounds of eco-unfriendliness. Had it not been for these restrictions abroad, both the government as well as the industry would have preferred to carry on its business as usual without caring a damn for the environment.
Several chemicals today are identified throughout the world as detrimental to the environment. And now many of the industries are being asked not to use these chemicals. So the number of chemicals coming under the list is increasing day by day. And there are a lot of green movements in Western countries asking them to ban these chemicals. So with the result, you can see that every year number of chemicals are being added to this list. Now in India, we are particularly exporting leather, and we have to meet the requirements of our users abroad. Now here, these chemicals which are banned, we cannot use them. So then it is necessary for our industry to know this in advance and take necessary steps to not to use these chemicals but go for alternatives.
It is not that eco-friendly technology for leather processing is not available. The problem lies in two places: the industry's general apathy towards environmental costs and the predominance of small and medium-scale operations in this sector, which makes these technologies economically unviable.
When it comes to investment, an industrialist is interested to know what is the level of investment that he has to put in, make his process more eco-friendly. That's number one. Number two is then what are the returns that he gets. Any technology which is not going to give higher returns than what he is getting normally, that is a disincentive for him. So it is necessary for institutions which develop this technology to see that they are also techno-economically viable.
Out of the 1,083 tanneries, 88% are in the small and tiny sector. A closer scrutiny of the various stages involved in leather processing reveal that each and every stage poses a threat to the environment, primarily degrading the soil and contaminating the water sources.
When you start making leather, there are a lot of cleanup operations are done. You take hide and skin and first you try to clean it up. When you are doing the cleanup, first you try to remove the salt, which is with the hides and skins. Then afterwards you try to remove the dirt and other things which are on them. So this itself requires a lot of water is required. Then after that, then you start converting into leather. That's where you add chemicals, then afterwards try to finish it, then also you add chemicals on that. Now when you are doing all these operations, we generate something like for every kg of leather made, about 40 to 45 liters of water is used.
The three effluents raising ecological concerns are the soak liquor, the sulfide-bearing lime liquor, and the chrome-bearing tan liquor. Further, solid wastes arising from chrome shavings and sludge, leather trimmings and leather wastes contain environmentally dangerous chemicals like pentachlorophenol. Gaseous emissions from formaldehyde and solvent-based finishing materials, and also the chemicals like ammonium salt, chromium salts, common salt, non-biodegradable fat liquors, and solvent-based finishing agents, all these need to be replaced with environmentally friendly options which are already being used in the developed countries. Another way to deal with this problem is to minimize the rampant wastage of chemicals and raw materials by the way of process optimization. It is estimated that 660 crore rupees are lost annually due to the inefficient carcass recovery and non-utilization of byproducts. The Madras-based Central Leather Research Institute, or the CLRI, has already developed several new technologies with low or no waste concept.
So as far as CLRI is concerned, we are developing technologies for the industry, technologies for the end of the pipe treatment, and technologies for pollution control at the source itself. And third is technologies which have to replace the existing chemicals which are being banned.
These include solid-state fermentation technology for production of unhairing enzymes, saltless curing, mechanical desalting, carbon dioxide deliming. By adopting these innovative waste reduction strategies, the leather chemical sector can reduce its environmental wastes up to 50%. Another necessity is a common effluent treatment plant for tannery clusters. While the government has agreed to share 50% of the plant cost, the remaining 50% has to be taken care of by the industry. The operation cost for an effluent treatment plant can be met by the fees paid by the participating units according to the quality and quantity of effluent discharged by them. In this way, units with cleaner online waste reduction technologies would pay less, and those generating massive wastes cough up larger sums. Recently, the Government of India has launched a technology mission for sustainable development in the leather industry with an eye on technology upgradation, cleaner technologies, and quality standardization. With this, the fourth largest foreign exchange earning industry is expected to take a leap in the direction of sustainable development without losing out on profits. The writing on the wall is clear for the industry. Being eco-friendly is also econo-friendly. There is no other choice. Over the last 3 decades, about 39 million hectares of tree-covered land, an area even greater than Japan, has been laid bare in India.
Next time, your search for pesticide-free vegetables and organic manure could land you up in Tihar jail. In fact, it is now called the Tihar Ashram, of course without the handcuffs. It's just that this is the place where these goodies can be found. Instead of breaking stones and boulders, as we often see in Bollywood films, the inmates of Tihar jail are doing something much more concrete and fruitful. Join us in sharing this unique experience.
Just 2 years ago, 280 phone calls were made every night from Tihar jail calling the doctor for help. Today, this number has been reduced to 7 calls per night, and this has nothing to do with MTNL's efficient telephone service.
This is the particular place. Even when I came here, when I came newly about 8-9 years back, I remember, we used to walk around this place, and it was a lot of smells and so on. People don't normally come around here because of the smell. So whoever comes around here will always pass that way and go. But since this thing started, I mean, you can see that you cannot perceive any smell because we have some medicine we spray on top of it and to block the smell completely.
The credit for this turnaround goes to the jail administration, which launched a program to convert prison waste into a useful soil enricher called Cellrich. As a result, all the garbage which earlier used to be a nuisance for both the inmates and the administration is today laying golden eggs for them.
So it's been such a bonanza for us. It saved money from money being turned into garbage, okay? And this garbage has been turned into manure. And it's like 43 lakhs into government kitty, because 20 lakhs was being spent into removing garbage. And now we're making 23 lakhs out of it as manure. So it's 43 lakhs.
No stinks, no mosquitoes, no flies, and no rodents. All it needed was a practical initiative and a little support from outside, which in this case was provided by the Bombay-based Excel Industries Limited.
This microbial culture that is having it can eat away the toxic matters. It is different from vermiculture also, because vermi generally dies due to salinity in the garbage and other things. But this won't do like that. It takes away the saline things from the soil also, toxic matters from the soil also.
Excel volunteered to part with its technology using a microbial culture consisting of 17 types of microorganisms. When inoculated with this culture, the garbage goes through a series of biochemical reactions before being converted into a nutritious organic fertilizer. All the non-biodegradable stuff like plastics, metals, etc. are removed before the inoculation. A 6 by 6 feet heap is injected with this culture along with slurry made up of cow dung and water. This increases the heat temperature to 60 to 70 degrees Celsius, thereby killing all the bad pathogens, and then starts the fermentation process. After 15 days, the heat reduces to 50 degrees centigrade. The heap is then turned around for improved aeration. This process is repeated once or twice during the next 5 to 6 weeks. In a couple of months, the kachra becomes an organic manure. This compost is then sieved and packed into 2, 3 and 5 kilogram bags and are sold at Rs 4 a kilogram. The TSG, that is the Tihar Sudhar Graha soil enricher, is purchased mainly by nurseries and the Kitchen Garden Association in Delhi. A part of it also goes into growing pesticides and chemical-free fruits and vegetables within the jail complex, comprising of 4 prisons. Apart from giving bountiful harvests, it also improves the soil's texture, increases the water-holding capacity of the soil, gives a natural color and flavor to the produce, and decreases salinity. The microbes also devour the toxic material in the field. This soil enricher has not only made Tihar jail's bank account swell with money, but has also improved the quality of life of the prisoners by giving them a sense of pride and self-reliance.
Money we earn out of manure now goes into the welfare funds to sponsor the educational and other festival programs.
As a matter of fact, I'm getting remission from the administration. They're giving me remission, and at the same time, I'm getting 6 rupees per day, as a skilled worker.
Our camera team discovered how the relevance of this activity went way beyond the mere disposal of garbage. The inmates of Tihar have emerged as prisoners with a conscience.
इस समय तो हम कैस्ट्री में जेल में बंद हैं। अगर बाहर हमें कहीं ज़मीन मिल जाए या कोई ऐसे बड़े आदमी मिल जाए साथ में शेयरदार, तो हम मेहनत करके जैसे नर्सरी खोल सकते हैं। उसमें है क्या कि ज़मीन जैसे हम ले लिए, उसमें जैसे गमला बनवा के या उसमें फूल लगा के, जैसे अच्छे स्टैंडर्ड कॉलोनी है, कहीं बड़े बड़े कोठी हैं, अब सर लोग हैं, उस कॉलोनी में ले जाके हम बेच सकते हैं। एक गमला जैसे 50 की भी बिकता है, 60 की भी बिक सकता है, इतना तक बिक सकते हैं। मतलब पैसे उसमें भी है, मेहनत है लेकिन पैसे हैं। मेहनत बगैर तो वैसे कहीं कुछ मिलता नहीं।
There's a company in Bombay who taught this jail authority how to prepare this. So that company, I've been getting in touch with them, and they promise if I come out, then I should meet them in Bombay. They will help me for the feasibility studies and so on, and so that I can use it to start something like this in my country. Because in my country, as a matter of fact, we don't have something like this. We waste it, just burn it. But I can see that there's a hell of money here and there. Somebody can make living out of this.
ये जो मतलब प्रदूषण जो ख़राब था वो सही हुआ, उसकी वजह से मतलब बीमारियाँ थोड़ी कमी हुई हैं। मतलब मैं चाहता हूँ ऐसे ही मतलब हमारे जो बंजर धरतियाँ और काफ़ी जगह ऐसा ही इलाका जो ख़राब पड़ा हुआ है, बंजर है, जहाँ रेगिस्तान है, ये सही हो, ऐसा ही सबको ऐसी खेती वहाँ भी हो, तो बीमारियाँ मैं सोचता हूँ कि मतलब हमारे हिंदुस्तान में बहुत कम पैदा होंगी इसके बाद।
The one and only way to appreciate the Tihar Jail project is to replicate it all over the country. All cities should have several such projects running in all the municipal zones. If at all we are self-sufficient in anything, it is garbage. The liberal use of sunscreens may promote a deadly form of skin cancer called melanoma. In 1993 alone, an estimated 6,800 people died in the United States due to melanoma.
When Bihar Chief Minister Lalu Prasad Yadav decided to do away with the Patna golf course and convert it into a grazing ground for cattle, he might well have also unintentionally touched on a green issue. Golf courses provide valuable sports facilities and are often the only green space in some cities, but they do take acres of land out of the reach of the general public, and they also pose a threat to our health. Does this mean that we should plug all the holes in golf courses throughout the country? The next story will help you decide.
With the economy opening up like never before, there's been a spurt in foreign investment and joint ventures over the past few years. Coupled with this is the sudden boom in the number of golf courses across the country, as golf happens to be the favorite pastime of foreigners. In fact, in a few years from now, India is poised to become one of the major destinations in the golf tourism circuit.
Whether it is in India or anywhere in the world, you will be surprised that there are as many as about 5 crore golfers and about 1.5 crores from Japan alone. They travel all over the world to play golf because in Japan they don't have enough golf courses. This is therefore a big revenue earner. And this is a sport which you see is very much contributing to promotion of friendly relations by way of international tournaments.
While hoteliers, tour operators and golf course owners and the finance ministry have all the reasons to feel happy, environmentalists all over the world are up in arms against the game. So much so that they are seeking a ban on golfing. In fact, a Japan-based global network for anti-golf action claims to have halted the construction of nearly 300 golfing greens in the country since 1988. The Chinese government has banned golf courses within 200 meters of the coastline. In Goa, the Jagrut Goan Kranti Forge, meaning the Vigilant Goan Army, is campaigning against golfers as it is likely to affect the state's sensitive ecology. After all, what makes this seemingly green game a non-green one? Hidden beneath the smooth, close-cropped, lush green grass cover are tons of pesticides and fertilizers which, over a prolonged period, can poison the groundwater and aquifers even beyond the perimeters of the golf course itself, and in some cases, may even degrade the land. Many golf courses use a chemical called zeolite to improve the texture of the soil and make it suitable for golfing. This chemical has been found to be carcinogenic. A typical 18-hole golf course could be anything between 150 to 250 acres. The amount of water required to keep them green throughout the year is colossal, approximately 2 lakh litres a day. However, the golfers have their own reasons for justifying their love for the game.
For me, the fun of playing golf is just the challenge. You're out in the fresh air. All courses are difficult, or they have their difficulties. I just do it because it's exercise, it's a way to get out, and I must confess that I don't necessarily think particularly about how much earth has been moved for it. I don't think you can compare it to, say, in France with the Olympic Games and the amounts of of landscape that were totally destroyed to create the Winter Olympics there. I don't think golf courses can be compared in that sense.
The tussle between environmentalists and the golf promoting lobby is getting hot. While the environmental groups in the developed nations have partially succeeded in having their way, this may not happen in a cash-hungry country like ours, where anything which brings in dollars is more than welcome. In many big cities, golf courses are perhaps the only green lung left amidst the concrete jungle. Moreover, golf being the game of the rich and the influential, it may not be possible to ban the game altogether or stop new golf courses from coming up. The only way out in this situation is to encourage eco-friendly golf courses, the real green ones. This can be done by promoting natural courses like the ones in Assam and Gulmarg. The natural slope of the land should not be tampered with to create artificial hazards. In fact, the natural undulations can be creatively used to the golfer's advantage. This would also ensure an uninterrupted flow of rainwater along the gradient. Chemical fertilizers can be replaced by organic manure. In Japan, there are chemical-free golf courses which have made it mandatory for members to de-weed the greens.
In a golf course which you want to really suit to your requirements, you find that you disturb the earth to a lot of, particularly in foreign countries, they are very fond of playing on courses which have a lot of undulations, a lot of corrugations. They must have a lot of mounds. You know, when you do that, you play with the countryside, you play with the earth. So you're removing earth from one place, you're bringing it to another place, and you're totally forgetting the natural environments. Now, if the water is coming from one side, and if it is going to follow a particular route, it is going to follow a particular route. With whatever little you do, ultimately a day will come when the water comes back into the same place. So while you are designing the course in the initial stages, why not follow the nature?
Luckily, Indian golf courses have an advantage: cheap labor, which can be effectively utilized to maintain the golf course, unlike the developed nations, which are heavily dependent on chemicals for maintaining the greens and the browns. Another way to save fertile agricultural land from being replaced by golfing greens is to encourage golf courses on wastelands. After all, those who can spend thousands of rupees for one game can also afford to pay a few dollars more in the name of preserving nature.
Eco-consciousness is rapidly catching up with quality consciousness as the vital precondition for success in business. Smart companies have already woken up to this fact. For others, it will take some time before they realize the massive environmental and social costs we will have to pay if they don't act fast.